Okay. Reading notes for today is Saturday, January 2024. I'm Tanis Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi. I got a fair amount of notes. So it's The Race of the Century, The Battle to Break the 4-Minute Mile by Neal Bascomb. And I did my 50 pages per day video approach, which today included pages that were not numbered, but I did 50 pages per day, and there was the story ended on page 201, and then counted out there was an additional 46 pages of what I call back matter, with the last page of text being on not numbered page 247. So 50 pages, you know, I can check to make sure that there's no text on the back. So 247 pages. Okay, is that being pedantic? Maybe. Okay, so the introduction, links in the video description to the previous. This is my 11th consecutive day doing a notes video for this. I chose the pages per day approach instead of pages per video approach, which I'm very happy. This is 11 days for a big hurdle. It's a milestone is probably better for human history. Like, instead of giving it a day or a quick read, 11 days of thinking about it and talking about it. I feel happy with this first attempt of understanding this. Okay, so let's jump into notes, which I'm breaking into 3 categories this time. First, notes on page 201, which is Landy wins the silver medal. So my favorite, you know, gold, silver, bronze, and silver. So I'm going to highlight John Landy wins the silver medal at the 1954 British Empire Games, which were held about an hour and a half to 2 hours that way in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And oh, I have a comment on that. It's interesting, isn't it? So the author is American and spends a lot of time talking about Wes Santee, who was an American runner, and then there's the British man, Roger Bannister, who won the gold at the British Empire Games, and John Landy, who won the silver medal, and Wes Santee, the American, commented on it, and John Landy was the Australian. And I think it's interesting, isn't it, that an author or a writer, if they're paid, is paid for words, and how the author might be that gold frenzied fanatic. But even though they put that emphasis on that, and the gold medal winners and clearly don't like Landy as much as the other two, it's interesting that, right, silver to me means more than gold, even though gold may mean more to the author than silver. Okay, it's just an interesting thing, right? Different people, different perspectives. Words might be paid for the words because the editor and the publisher like the words, but if I'm part of the target market, right, gold does not have as much worth as silver for this she, her, hers. And then, since it was the last page of the book, I should make a comment on my running aspirations with my Jakob Ingebrigtsen is a solo and individual. My personal best in the 1 mile run, I'm a road runner. My time is what? 4 minutes and 35 seconds. The world record is 4 minutes and 20 seconds. It would be cool to run a John Landy time, so like 3:58 on the road. And it would be fun then. Maybe there are chicories in the tree going pew, pew, pew as I run. And it'd be cool, or not cool, but what I could see happening is people being like, she needs to run on a track, you know, see if that translates to a track. Whatever the mile run time is at for 1 minute, I have no idea. But what I could see happening is like, they're like, because she has the world record in the road run, or I don't know if it would be a world record in the road run, 1 mile, right? But like, because she's really fast over here, she should race over here, and we're just gonna put her straight into the final. And you know, I'm gonna have stopped running around a track, like I'll be preparing for this road run, a 1 mile run, and I'll have stopped running around the track, and my entry time with like the people who are like, you know, 4 minutes flat, 4:05 seconds, 4:10, 4:15. My entry time is going to be 5 minutes and 24 seconds. You know, just something like that. It's just gonna, I'm gonna be like, if I'm running on a track, I'm not running with shoes, and that's hazardous because tracks of modern times are kind of slippery when a person's sweating. So, you know, like, but fortunately when I don't wear shoes, the soles of my feet get, get tough. So might not slip, but I'm just be like, that would be just a testament to whether I can run or not. And then maybe I'm in the same competition and it's the women's 1 mile run. This is like on track. And then it's the men's and my Jakob Ingebrigtsen is there and I'm his coach and I'm my own coach. But I'm there and I get to give him like a little pep talk before the race and I gotta like give him a hug. And then afterwards we return to Norway and somehow magically we both represent Norway at this competition, the track one. And then we return home and we go to my hometown, Norwegian hometown of Bergen, and they let us race together. Just him and I, the 1 mile run for the first time on a track, like racing each other kind of thing. That would be like simply divine. Okay. So that's my notes on page 201. Next section, notes on back matter. Counts out as pages 202 to 247. This is strong terminology. It feels like to me, but to most people, might not be. Author lies about the state of John Landy is alive. So the book was published in March 2022, and John Landy died 24 February 2022, so the month before this was published. Or maybe the author just wasn't paying attention and or did not care to update the book before its publishing. I don't know the logistics of how this was printed, but John Landy died before the book was first. This is the first edition. This is a March 2022 book, and he died before this, and the book says he's alive. The book lied. Right. So whether it was intentional or not, there's a bit of a blooper there. On the part of the author, and I don't know, like the person could have been busy with other stuff, so just missed it, or heard about it and it didn't care, or heard about it and it just like didn't click. They should go back and update the book, or maybe they could, but for whatever reason they couldn't update it. And they were like, I'm not gonna make a fuss about it. Don't care that much, right? So that's just kind of how it comes across. References to John Landy talking about running like driving a car, such as notes for chapter 6. Yeah, so that was kind of unsettling. Sometimes an author can reveal a lot about their biases and kind of how tainted a writer they are through their notes. This is the second book in a row I found that for. And so John Landy is actually the one of the 3 runners who makes the comparison to like running being kind of analogous to driving a car. And I wanted to pull that out now in my notes because I find it disrespectful. I wrote this down. I find it disrespectful that the author separates these ideas from their originator in the main text of the book by using the analogies on Wes Santee instead of John Landy. Feels like an American cheating / using performance enhancing drugs. Yes. If John Landy's the one who came up with all the car running analogies, the author uses them on Wes Santee. I'm like, that's just really despicable conduct, isn't it? Performance enhance it, steal the wording and imagery of the Australian and instead put it in the book itself about to describe the American. And I'm just like, you know, some people like to stretch the boundaries and push it, and I don't know if this would be classified. It's not classified as fiction, but you know, sometimes the biases and spin and subjectivity of an author can be so strong in a nonfiction book that it just becomes very distasteful, is the best way to describe it. All right, notes on the book overall, including content, construction, and design. John Landy and Swedes in the 1940s and 1950s. I've brought this up before. I have added to my family. It's like I would like to run fast with my Jakob Ingebrigtsen in person when we're awake. John Landy in 1940s and 1950s Swedes, in addition to Jakob Ingebrigtsen before this book, and during this book, when I was reading this book, I feel like I have a home in running, and I started running of my own initiative with myself as coach in January 2006. It's January 2024, and to go like kind of be running out there and being like, I feel alone, and I'm not using other people's training stuff, like I'm just kind of doing this for me, and to find a family, right? Like, to go from one to, like, if we counted 1940s and 1950s Swedes as 3 people, even though it was a whole lot more. To go from 1 in my running family to 5 is like, it's more than 5, but kind of thing. It's like, I cried. Okay, it's a big deal for this little girlie. I'm not alone. There were good people in running, in the history of running. Yeah, so that made me very teary-eyed. Landy body fat, so he's not the skinniest runner of the 3 per the pictures, and the author does bring up a comment, at least one comment that Roger Bannister made about the physique of John Landy, and the pictures that show him not as lean as the other 2 were after he had trained in Scandinavia, and as a Scandinavian, Norwegian, but also just a northern dweller. Yes, running in cold temperatures, if one does not want to wear a ton of clothing, high body fat helps. I'm busy! And so, yeah, my mom interrupting. And so, yeah, so he was a smart runner. Of the 3, it would appear he was the only person who actually ran in conditions enough to actually figure that out, that is a desirable thing. And I find my joints and muscles don't run are not as sore at higher body fat as when I was at lower body fat. And that actually carries over to, he was the only one, John Landy, between him, Roger Bannister, and Wes Santee, so John Landy is the Australian, was the only one who did not overexert themselves, who was like what I would call is a runner who was a true runner. He found a runner's physique, an all-weather runner's physique, which the other 2, it would appear, did not. And when he ran his fastest times, he said he felt fast. He was not overly fatigued. He was not collapsing. He was not like, oh, woe is me. And when I broke the 5-minute mile barrier, I am a she, her, hers, as a teenager with myself as coach, that's still like the adrenaline of that achievement, like, kind of keeps me going in life, even when I'm in my most depressed state. It's a really kind of interesting thing. And that run it felt so fast, and it was so fast. And, you know, I had a cluster of times and then did that, and that's what John Landy did with his 3:58, which was really a 3:57.9, but the author rounded it up kind of thing. Yeah. You are, I would say, a true runner when you run fast and it feels fast. It means you have mastered the art of running. It does not mean that you've mastered the art of running for all time. I have learned that since then. It's like, it can be all over the place, but like, to be really a true runner and like in it and be a peak runner, like as in all of the pieces come together, run fast and feel fast. And he was the only of the 3 to figure that out. So in my book, he's perfect, John Landy. And he died on 24 February, and I was either born 26 August or 26 February. So I'm like, maybe he died for me, being like, go girly, which might be over extrapolating it, but you know, our lifetimes overlapped, so you never know. Okay. And then anything else? Yes, the red squirrels. The red squirrels say they are Landy squirrels. They have gone in multiple times when I've been working out and been like, we're Landy squirrels. Construction and design, it was good, like maybe 1.5 spacing. The chapters were a little on the shorter side. I like the title of the book, the main title and subtitle, and I like the book jacket design. So a few notes there. Construction pages were on the thinner side, but yeah, I liked it. It was good. Conclusion, I'm done. onwards. I hope you have a wonderful day whenever you're reading this.